If you're flying, call ahead. Cutbacks in air traffic taking place now nationwide. 40 of the largest airports nationwide affected across more than 24 states. Hubs like Atlanta, Dallas, Los Angeles, Denver. Right now, more than 815 flights have been canceled, 4% reductions across the nation even as we speak. That number will rise to 10% by November 14th. Air traffic controllers have been working without pay now for more than a month, and as a result, travelers are heading into the weekend not knowing whether their flights will be delayed or canceled. Scripps News business and tech correspondent Mara Barrett is live right now from Denver International Airport. Mara, customers and airlines got only a few days' notice about the changes. How is it looking so far where you are?
Right, all of these adjustments had to happen pretty quickly. Over my right shoulder, there's a long line of airplanes looking to take off. But across the board, we were told that starting today, Friday, we'd see a 4% reduction in flights across the country. And so as I'm looking at FlightAware, which tracks delays and cancellations, the major U.S. airlines, for the most part, are actually staying under that 4% threshold. There have been hundreds of cancellations, even more delays. And so it seems like delays are going to be the key thing that we're looking for. United and Delta, for example, tried to get ahead of it and communicate with their customers yesterday in terms of whether their flights would be canceled today through the weekend. Other airlines haven't been as on top of it as United and Delta, but you can kind of see the number of impacts we've seen so far in terms of delays and cancellations just today. And they're expected to stay around that same rate over the weekend. Most airlines say that they feel confident about getting customers rebooked within a 4-hour window, they say. So a lot of the airlines, American specifically, are condensing how many flights they're running. Say they run 12 flights from, I think it was from Dallas to San Antonio each day. They've dropped that down to 11. And so they're condensing who's on what flight to try to make everything run as efficiently as possible. But the reason that all this is unfolding is obviously because of this shutdown that has just continued to drag on, impacting air traffic controllers who are having to work without pay. It's the same for TSA agents. And so Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy gave a press conference this morning explaining the backups, the holdups that they've seen in terms of air traffic controllers that led them to this decision.
Number one, loss of separation in the airspace. So that's the minimum distance we keep between aircraft to keep them safe. We've seen breaches, more breaches in regard to that loss of separation. We see more incursions on tarmacs throughout the country. And we have more complaints from pilots about stress from our air traffic controllers and more complaints about the lack of responsiveness from controllers.
Now, if the shutdown continues on into the next week, the FAA has already advised that they'll have to increase that reduction percentage to 6% on Tuesday, up to 8% on Thursday, and 10% potentially by the end of next week. And then as we inch even closer to Thanksgiving travel season, that's where this could get especially dicey. One aviation expert we spoke to said, hey, if the shutdown ends anytime next week, this will all kind of snap back pretty quickly. Air traffic controllers getting back to work, getting paid again, and everything should go smoothly. But it's really once we get into that week ahead of Thanksgiving that things will get even more pressure.
Mara, that works well unless you buy your tickets in advance like most Americans. Every airline is approaching this matter differently. How should customers navigate it?
You definitely want to make sure you're checking your email, checking your text messages. You have your apps with all of your airlines, potentially if you've bought those tickets, if you're traveling this weekend, because this is very anxiety inducing from a personal standpoint. My parents are coming to visit Denver this weekend. On Wednesday, we heard about this. And as of now, they're allegedly still going to be heading their way here from Philadelphia, but they're flying American. And American didn't give the same heads up that United and Delta, for example, did to get through the weekend. And so a lot of people are left in limbo in terms of should they show up to the airport, will the flight get delayed, will it get canceled? And the key thing here too is depending on what airline you're flying and depending on how those delays and cancellations do get rebooked, it's really up to the discretion of each airline of whether you're getting compensated for lodging or meals. If your flight is impacted and you choose not to take it, typically airlines are required to offer you a refund. Most airlines, most of those major airlines I mentioned, are giving people the opportunity to change or refund their flights at no cost. But if you look at other budget airlines like Frontier, for example, their CEO posting on LinkedIn yesterday, hey, if you have to get to a specific event, a wedding, a funeral, a must-attend event, he advised you should probably buy a backup ticket on another airline, which buying a ticket this late in the game for this weekend potentially is going to be really expensive. And so it's really important that you're watching the different airlines and what they're advising. Like I said, United, Delta forecasting through the end of this weekend, and then airlines will just have to further adjust as those reductions increase as well. I think it's also important to know, even if your flight is running, if it is on time, TSA agents are impacted as well. Several airports having to reduce the amount of lanes that are open, and so they're suggesting people get to the airport even earlier to accommodate for those longer TSA lines, as they are short-staffed due to the shutdown as well, Dell.
Out there can afford to buy 2 airline tickets for the same trip. I'm being facetious, of course. Scripps News business and tech correspondent Mara Barrett for us live in Denver. Mara, thank you very much.